Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Mike's Diabetes World. Okay, so today's information, nothing's really changed. I'm doing one video after another. So this is still the same as it was before. A lot less corrections last night, I think. My blood sugar is going up a bit. It's now at 8.1. So I just think it's what a problem I used to have, dawn phenomenon. So I'm kind of waking up. My hormones are racing in my body now. So that is why my blood sugar, it started off at 7.8. So we're not like peaking up super high. The pump is keeping me in control. Okay, 96.3. This is down a bit now, so we're down to 8. So I'm pretty happy with that. Today, I want to discuss get rid of the tube here, why I'm on an insulin pump. It's, I don't know, an interesting story, but it's a story that a lot of diabetics probably have to live through. So stay tuned. We'll be right back and we'll get going on our topic for this morning. Why I'm on an insulin pump. This channel is provided for informational purposes only. Contact your physician for any diagnostic or treatment plan. Okay. Why am I on an insulin pump? I got an insulin pump years ago. I'm talking almost at the beginning of time. No, it wasn't that bad. But during one of my stints of being in Lionsgate Hospital, 2 women, roughly my age, maybe a bit older, came down and were admitted to the hospital, and they were coming to learn how to use the pump. And I saw this and I was just so excited. It was a white thing, flatter than this, but more squarish type. And there was buttons that you sat there for each unit you wanted. You had to sit there and you had to press it. I really don't remember counting carbs with it. But I don't think carbs were a real thing. I think you kind of had to chase blood sugars at the time. I'm going way back here, people. I don't really remember. Then I got put on, or I ended up at Royal Columbian Hospital. This is years later. And the doctor tried to control me with shots. She wasn't having too much success. And this is sort of when they started wondering if I was, back then, a brittle diabetic, now labile. Just recently did a video on that. But I wasn't responding to shots. We went through a period of me doing multiple injections. I think it was up to 5 injections a day with a long acting. So we were trying to mimic an insulin pump. I got an insulin pump, and again, it was based from what this is. It was a 503, I think, insulin pump. And based on that, my life, I had that one for years. I was lucky. My first pump, my employer paid for, or it was accepted through our medical plan. I don't know if it was accepted because of the years of service I had, or if a new person started and just got on the medical plan, or myself, but I got an insulin pump. I went through time where I didn't go to Diabetes Education Center. I would use the pump, not all the time. I used it a lot, but it wasn't my main source of getting insulin. I would use it, stop it, come back to it. And then I went to diabetes education centers, and they asked to see my pump, and I gave them my pump. They gave it back to me, and pretty well, it wasn't this dramatic, but it was like, what is this? I can't get a reading off of it. Well, pumps had changed, and after that, I got put on to the Veo. Now, I'm sure many of you can remember the Medtronic Veo. It was a silver. This was a precursor to this pump. My control got to be better. Not super, but it got to be better. And I learned how to use the pump daily. But we were still limited to me dropping at night, and we didn't know why. My doctor got in touch with Medtronic, and somehow I got sensors. Now, I had sensors before, because when you get a new pump, the sensors, you get 5 of them, I think. And I put them on, and it was fun to see the blood sugars. That's when I went from, okay, I'm trying to control, to where I could actually see what's going on. Anyway, during my 9-month time in Royal Columbian, we went into discussions with the provincial government about getting sensors covered. I believe I was probably one of the first in the province to be allowed to have sensors with the pump. I get the sensors now. God, it must be over 10 years I've been able to get the sensors and my pumps. The pumps are now covered in BC. The sensors aren't. Unless you absolutely need them. Now you can get special authority for the sensors. The next part, I'm going to tell you, it's story time. I don't suggest you do this at any point, and I'm not going to tell you the mechanics of how to do it. But when they were trying to figure out my lows and why I was dropping at night, I actually had 2 pumps going. And you're thinking, that's got to be crazy. I had my regular pump going, and I had an older pump going that was my glucagon pump. We were trying to mimic insulin or pancreas. So one would give me the insulin through the day. At night, I would be giving a mixture of glucagon. And what I found useful was maybe not utilizing it as a overnight act, but it helped me, and I was able to, when I was low, I would give myself glucagon through the pump, and it pretty well helped there. I do not suggest you do this, and when I say do not, I mean do not do this. Because if you start doing stuff like that with your pump, it's not going to be covered by warranty. The only approved use for this insulin pump is to deliver insulin to its patients. I had an insulin pump before it was standard. Now, or not now, but when I go in to see my diabetic nurse, we've gone from, oh, we can't read your pump, to, oh, give me your pump and we'll unload the data, to now, every night, this downloads through the internet to Medtronic. And my diabetic nurse, my doctor, can pull up my sort of latest readings once a day, sort of thing. But it's no longer, can you upload before an appointment? Now, I've done many talks saying, would I go back to shots? And the answer is no. My blood sugars were not just out of control, they were super out of control. This little device has brought some normalcy back to my life. I still have lows, I still have high days, we just recently went through high days to now where I'm 96% time in range. That is awesome. And it's all with this. Now, I'm a big proponent of the Medtronic pump system. Yes, it's so-called tethered to me. There is Omnipod, which isn't. There's T-Slim. But for me, Medtronic was the pump I got first. So you kind of build up a loyalty to them. They've been great for me. And this closed loop system I'm on now allows me just a little tighter control. And that's all we really want. We want to be able to get ourselves in tight control. When I first came into the facility, the first thing they said, the doctor will be in to discuss your insulin regime and we'll get you your first shot. And I said, no. This is my pump. I signed saying I'd take care of it, whatever. But it's like, I'm going to really date myself here. It's about the size of an old-fashioned pager. Before cell phones, we had pagers. And if you had to get someone, you would dial a phone number, it would beep on here. Then we got cell phones, but they couldn't be used in hospitals. And then we went to and so that's the size. It's the size of a small flip phone, I guess now is probably the better. But that's my pump. And there was one time they forgot to give me my pump back. It was on a table out of my reach. And I couldn't understand, why is my blood sugar going up? But it started to come right back down when we got back on the pump. Excuse me. Because of my brittle diabetes, the pump is necessary for me to get control. And it should be mandatory for all diabetics to get the pump. And I believe the province has pretty well decided that this is going to be the gold standard in BC. In fact, if your doctor feels that you need an insulin pump, it is covered. I went through having a pump which was covered by my employer. When it came time to upgrade, I wasn't still employed. So my father and stepmother stepped in and bought me the pump. And then coverage had always been for people under the age of, I don't know why I feel it was 18, it could have been 19, but under the age of majority. Then, I don't know, 5-7 years, it's become available to everyone. You have a pump, they will approve it for 5 years. The only problem is the warranty runs out in 4. And my old pump, the, the one I had before I got my loaner, broke, and Medtronic stepped up and gave me a loaner before I got this one. So this pump works for me, and I think it finally got into the groove, and I'm starting to feel better. So that is why and how I got onto the pump. If you're thinking about it, I've had a wonderful experience. There's a little bit more to life on an insulin pump, but that is why I'm tighter control. I don't drop really low at night anymore. Daytime may be a different story right now, but at night I'm fine. And with that, I hope you have a super day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye now. My email is mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com. mikesdiabetesworld@gmail.com.